New to Excel 2016 is a 3D map feature. It's used to track geographical regions of time. In other words, to visualize your data on a map by plotting geographic and temporal or time-related data on a 3D globe or custom map, show it over time, and create visual tours to share with others. Doesn't that just sound fun? Well, before I go ahead and insert my 3D map, you can either have a data range or one converted into a table, as I did here. And in my table, I'm going to be viewing the 3D map based upon the states within the US that I made sales in. If you want to be able to view it by country, then make sure you have a column that has a list of all the countries. In any case, to go ahead and insert the 3D map, make sure that you have a cell selected somewhere within your database. Come up here and click on the Insert tab. Go to the Tours group and click on the 3D map button. And if this is the first time that you're clicking on it, it'll ask you to enable the feature. Go ahead and click on Enable, and there you go. You have the tour window, you've got the main window with the field list that's covering it up, and then over to the right you have the layers, and then the details for each layer. First of all, the field list. It has the name of our table and all the fields within the table, which, by the way, if you want to make any updates, the workbook that this 3D map is based upon is still open, so you can go back down here, as you can see, make any changes, like update the quantity, come back to the 3D map, and then be sure to click refresh so you can pull in those changes. And so if we're done with the field list, let's go ahead and close out of it. If you want to bring it back up, then come up here and click on field list. That also works for the tour editor. You can go ahead and close out of that, click on it to bring it back up, but I'll go ahead and close out of that because I don't want to see it right now. Close out of the field list and then the layers. Now you can have more than one layer, but it starts off with the default layer 1. If you had 2 layers, you can say, well, layer 1 with the details down below is for the US, add a second layer and say that's going to be for maybe South America, and maybe a third layer for Africa and so on. In any case, if you get 2 or more layers, you may want to rename them from its generic name, layer 1. Come over here and click on the pencil, and then delete it. And we'll say this is US sales, hit enter to accept it. And then you got the all-seeing eye, that if you have more than one layer and you don't want to view one of them, by focusing on another, you can go ahead and click on it, it hides it, and you can see over in the US I don't get those little dots on the states that I made sales in. So when I go ahead and click on the eye again, now you can see it, these little dots. And these little dots down below the data heading is based upon the stat column. You can view it by clustered column, or I want to view it by region, because those little dots, well, they're dots because we're viewing it from top down. If I went ahead and rotated the map, I could be able to see it as columns. But let me go ahead and click on region because it actually highlights the state, even those teeny tiny ones like Massachusetts. And then so over to the right, I'm viewing it by state. If you want to view it by country for this layer, like let's say you add another layer and it's bringing up state still, then you can go ahead and close out of that or X out. Then add the field, go down and choose your country. Mine's going to be state again, so we'll bring it back up. And then the value that the states are based upon that you want to pull in, mine's going to be total sales by state. Select total sales. And then you get the legend that lets you know that on one end, the state that made the least amount in sales was 329. And which state is that? Well, you can go ahead and hover over the states and, hey, it's Massachusetts. You can see in the pop-up 329. And then as the gradient gets darker, then it gets all the way up to the state, well, move it up here to Arkansas, that made the maximum sales 2,790. Now, if this legend is getting in the way, well, of course, you can right-click on it to remove it. If you want to bring it back up, then come up here and click on Legend, or you can resize it by hovering over one of the resizing handles, those 2 circles, that you can click and drag to stretch it in, pull it in, and have fun with it. And then click and drag and move it somewhere out of the way. And then next, we can add a category if you have one. Click on it. The essential oils are categorized by antibacterial, antiviral, and so on. So let me go ahead and select category. Ooh, it gives us fun colors. And then up here in the legend, the antibacterial is in a dark shade of blue, and it goes from 1400 to 1400 because that's the only state here that we have sales in antibacterial. So let me go ahead and scroll down. If I find another state or other states that have antiparasitic sales in that category, like we got a lighter shade of purple to a darker shade. So lighter shade was 992. Let me see if Florida is antiparasitic. Yes, there's the 992. And the darker shade is right above it, Alabama, 1026.85. And so when you're making your presentation, at least from what you can see here, based upon my database, I can say here's the states that we've broken into with our sales. We need to go ahead and break into other areas and view the state by category, which ones are most important to which state, if it's antiparasitic or antibacterial and so on. And of course you can go ahead and remove the category. We're back to the total sales here. But I like the category. Let's go ahead and add it again, because below that you can actually add a timeline to it. Click on Add Field, and I have the transaction date or order date, and I have it by month. Now, it's not what you're thinking when it comes to month, as I thought when I first tried to figure this out. Let's go back to the database here, because when you look at the cell, you can't just type in January, because the 3D map won't understand what that means. And so with the cell selected up here in the formula bar, it's equaling another cell, which actually is the order date, J6, over here. And so what I did is I said, go ahead and pull in that transaction date, but convert it so I can read it by month. And to be able to do that, you can just go ahead and right-click on it and go down to Format Cells. Click and drag this up. On the Number tab, go down to the Custom Category. I deleted what was in the field here and typed in MMM for all months, and it gave me a sample of it, because if I go back by 1 M, it just gives me the abbreviation of January. Back by 2 M's, it just gives me the number 01 for January, but I wanted all 4 M's to spell it out, and click Okie dokie, and that way the 3D map will pull it in because it recognizes it as an actual date, but formatted, as I just showed you, into the month of January for anything that has 1, and then February 2s and 3s and so on in the month field of the date. So we can go ahead and go back to our map. And then we can click on it to be able to see it, the month, and be able to view the timeline, transactions over time. As you can see with our play button, that when I click on it, over time it's counting through the time or the months and the actual time itself, but it's going through pretty fast. And then notice when it gets to a certain point with some of these states, they get a little darker, they get a little lighter. Now let's go ahead and do this again, but this time focusing on the state of Florida, because as you notice through the timeline, as we go through the year, they made sales here at this certain point, April or May, and it's a lighter shade of purple. Then towards the end, in about October, wow, it went to a darker shade of purple. So the category, antiparasitic, they made at least 2 purchases. The first sales was on the lower end because it was lighter shade of purple, so around 500. Well, let's go down to the actual database and bring it up, and we're looking at Florida. So earlier in the year, in April, $352 worth, and then later on, down below here, in October, $640 worth, so that's going to be definitely a darker shade of purple. Then you can go ahead and use the buttons to tilt the map up or down or left or right. And then if you come up here and go from region to, like, let's do clustered column. There you go. Ooh, that's pretty cool. And you can view it that way. You can also increase it, zoom in on it. In fact, let's bring up the tour editor, and on the tour editor you can go ahead and click play. Ooh, there we go. You can go ahead and use the buttons down below to pause it and then continue on in the tour, and then when you're done at the end you can go ahead and go back. Let's go ahead and close out of the tour editor and do just a few more things. Let's close out of the field list, and we can right click on the legend. I'm good with removing it for now. And then come up here for the scene group, click on themes if you want to choose a different theme, maybe color black. Oh, that really pops. And you've got your scene options. When you play it out, you can have the scene name, the scene duration. Instead of 10 seconds, shorten it, lengthen it. The effects, the transition for the effects, 3 seconds. The speed of the scene if you want to slow it way down or make it super fast. And then go ahead and close out. And then come over here, let's go ahead and click play. Wow. And it just repeats over and over again, because down below we can turn the repeat off, so it just plays it once. Well, that was annoying. Let's go ahead and go back because it was so fast. In any case, you can customize that and tweak that. Let's close out of that. And down below the timeline control bar, you also have setting options for that. Click on that. Same thing that you get up here for your scene options. If you want to change it up here, brings up the same window. And then when you're done, you can just go ahead and close out. It saves it, because when you want to view it again, just come back up here, Insert, to the Tours, click on 3D, And there's Tour 1. If you want to add a new tour, then go ahead and click on New Tour. And this is Tour 2. Go ahead and go through all the steps that you want to tweak it, customize it, and then when you're done, you can go ahead and close out. So when you come back and you click on 3D Maps again, now you've got 2 tours. And when you want to get rid of them, just click on that little X to delete it. And be sure to save your workbook so it keeps that 3D map available for the next time when you open up the workbook. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel to get notified of the latest videos. And for great specials on my products, please see the description below this video.